truth. It's something we all seek, right? As creatives, we dig into our deepest thoughts, emotion, and experience to create art, music, stories. But what if I told you that for many creatives, facing the truth is one of the scariest things they can do? Why are creative people afraid of the truth? Well, it's complicated. Today, we are diving into the emotional and psychological reasons behind why creative minds sometimes avoid the very thing they are chasing: truth. My name is Niddhish Puuzhakkal. I'm an author, filmmaker, and a creativity coach. I've written 2 books on creativity. Today, what we are going to talk about is something that I've seen in countless creatives that I've worked with. Let's start with one of the big reasons: vulnerability. Right? Creative expression often involves sharing a part of yourself with the world. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your fears, it's all there for people to see. And when the truth is revealed in your art, it can make you feel exposed. It's like handing someone a key to your soul and hoping they don't lock you out of your own creation. Vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity and innovation and change. It's also a terrifying place to be. Sharing the truth means risking rejection, criticism, or worse, being misunderstood. That's why so many creatives struggle with putting their rawest, most truthful work out there. The fear of vulnerability is a powerful thing. As creative individuals, we run towards pleasure and we run away from pain or discomfort. We do that more from the perspective of how we think. We like to be in thoughts which makes us feel good. And I think that's a very natural process, and it's not either right or wrong. We like to be in a place where we are happier. Where we are not bothered by it. So when we actually put a product out there, it is basically we are putting ourselves out there. It is very natural for us to feel exposed and uncomfortable. Why? Because it's like that fear of stage, which a lot of people have, right? To be standing in front of hundreds of people and looking at them and just wondering how they would judge you, how they would see you, and would they like you. Innate basic need, which is again drilled into our brains from childhood, that people have to like you. You should behave in a manner of, there should be a certain likability to you. It's not so, right? I mean, our work is an self-expression of yours, and we are all different from one another just by being yourself. And if we try to be likable and just try to be like everybody else, our individuality is lost. So what we create is a representation of you, and yes, you have to put it out there. But if that is not it, then you are not being yourself. And whatever that you're putting out there is not you, then why do you even worry about becoming vulnerable? Because it's not you. If somebody is judging it, it's not you that they're judging. If you're putting yourself, then we'll have to figure out and learn to be proud of what we are, so that when people are looking at it, some won't like it. And trust me, 100% of the people will not like anybody, right? Whether it is the geniuses out there haven't got all the love, okay? There was still a hater group. The biggest of geniuses and genius minds and creative minds have been called mad and criticized and even thrown out of various places, literally. Later were called legends, they were called genius. Another reason creative people may fear the truth is perfectionism. When you're trying to tell the truth, whether in a painting, a film, or a piece of music, you're striving for authenticity. But here's a catch. Many creatives believe that if they can't express that truth perfectly, they shouldn't express it at all. We just can't accept something that's put on our name out there, which is not 100% perfect. The problem with the word perfect and in the world of creativity and in the world of art or literature is that there is nothing, what are you comparing it to, right? There is nothing called perfect. If you want to perfect it, you can perfect it all your life and it would still not be perfect, because we keep thinking better ways to perfect it. So if you don't put your work out there is no worth to you, right? I mean, in terms of nothing to measure it against. Perfect, imperfect or not, it has to be a constant learning process, right? You have to put something out there. Yes, you could perfect it with 100 things and 100 resources more, But can you put all that perfection into one single project, or do you want to keep getting better at your craft over a period of time? For example, in filmmaking, my student year filmmaking is very different. The ads that I used to do like 10 years ago were very different from the kind of ads that I do now. Now, if I decided, okay, no, I will not even go and direct an ad, or if I will not even do a feature unless I've perfected it, I will never do it. You know what I mean, right? So you'll have to keep working on it. Every shoot that I've gone to has been a learning for me. Every art that I've done has been a learning for me, and that I've included into my next one. At that point in time, what feels like decently good, it works and it's met all your touch points in your head, put it out there, right? And yes, self-doubt will creep in. It will tell you it's not good. Ignore it. What happens is you have these little beings inside your head, right? And they all tell you various things, and they all are right, and they all exist for a reason. We call them parts. But you need to party with them, and you need to kind of tell them, listen, I get it, but then if I don't put work out there, nobody is going to see it. There is no existence. Okay, there is no existence for my art. I need to grow, and my work can be, improved one after the other, rather than trying to make into a single piece of art or single film or screenplay or whatever sort of art form that you're in, or whatever creative space that you're in. Put it out there, learn from it, do another one. And trust me, our brain is so full of resources, we don't have to get stuck with one. We can do multiple more. And trust me, all that learning from the previous one will add to make the next one richer. Imposter syndrome plays a huge role in this. Ever felt like you're not good enough? Like your work doesn't live up to the expectations? Welcome to the world of almost every creative person out there. According to a 2020 study, more than 70% of the people experience imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. And creatives are especially prone to it. The fear of truth often comes from the sense of self-doubt. What if I'm not good enough to express? What if my truth isn't worthy? Here's another angle. Truth isn't always easy to face, especially if it challenges your comfort zone. Creatives are often tasked with exploring tough subjects, grief, trauma, existential questions, and sometimes the truth they find is uncomfortable. It forces them to confront things they rather avoid. This fear of the uncomfortable truth is something that holds back many creatives. Creativity comes from feelings. I think I've written the best when there's some sort of an emotion. I was driven by that emotion. Sometimes grief has led me to write something which I hold very close to. Trauma at some point in my childhood and in my life has kind of shaped my perspective. And trust me, everything that happens in our life has sort of structured the way we think. And the way we think is unique, and nobody else can ever replicate that. We are all unique just because of those experiences that we have gone through. The existential questions that we have come from observations. And these observations are not necessarily very conscious observations. We also take in a lot of information through our senses, right? Whether it is visual, kinesthetic, auditory, or olfactory. Of course, the taste and smell is a little different, but we do take information constantly. And sometimes it's related to us, but sometimes it's not, but it still affects us, right? The things around us will affect us. And some more intense experiences also stays with us, right? The grief, traumas, something that happens to a close one, some loss of a close one. All of this also sort of triggers certain emotions and thoughts, and it lingers in our brain. And when we try to create something, it gets onto the product that we create. And while exploring these subjects makes you feel very uncomfortable, okay? Because it just opens that wound a lot more. The reality is, as creatives, we need to address those thoughts, right? I wouldn't say not react to it, but not get affected by it. We cannot ignore that. The more suppression that we are going to apply to that, art form gets suppressed. And that will lead to average products that we create or average art that we create, right? Come in terms with these uncomfortable emotions and write those down or paint those down intentionally, right? It will also be a way of dealing with that grief or trauma or existential questions that you are facing, or things that makes you uncomfortable or not too great about. Just attempt to make art out of it. Either you'll come out with great art, or you may even use the art to deal with that particular unresolved emotion. It's easier to sugarcoat it, to make it more palatable. But when we do that, we lose the power of what that truth could have been. Before we get to the next point, if you're loving this deep dive into the creative mind, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more. We are always uncovering the layers behind creativity, art, and storytelling. And you don't want to miss what's coming next. Another serious reason creatives might shy away from the truth is external pressure. The audience, the market, the client, they all have expectations. Sometimes the truth just doesn't fit into that box. This happens all the time in creative industries, especially in film, music, and advertising. There's a lot of pressure to conform, to make something more sellable and more mainstream, and in doing so, creatives often sacrifice the rawness and the truth of their original ideas. I was talking about different parts in our brain, in our mind, which keep telling us about, like I said, they're not wrong. They all have a reason for us to accept. It keeps us sane. But sometimes what happens is, it also stops us. The biggest enemy of ours is ourselves, right? Because we overthink, especially creative minds overthink through things and don't let ourselves shine. Okay. The need to be fitting in and wanting to be successful. For example, if I have to take the reference of cinema, making it commercial cinema, wanting for the entire mass to love it and want studios to love it and want commercial producers, the blockbuster producers to come and pick up your script. It's a pressure. Why? Because a lot more money, a lot more things that comes with that kind of an arrangement. But the thing is, forcing yourself to fit into that world, if your natural skills or natural writing or natural style does not fit there, will not only backfire, it will just make you feel very sad. Okay. Yes, if it comes very naturally, you find your own group of people, right? There are people that appreciate your style of work and you stick with that and you keep getting better. And of course, you should experiment also. You should do different sort of genres and things like that to see if you will work on it. But don't be putting yourself into a box and saying that, okay, you know what, I need to fit in and I need to probably do this kind of art or write this kind of stories or, trying to be something you are not. The idea here is you are the truth, right? What you are and how you are originally, authentically, with whatever that it comes with, whether it comes with good, bad. Now again, good, bad, success, and people often associate success with money. You can be absolutely successful and rich by just do what you love. And all of this is also different types of riches that you could do. And experiences are what makes you more richer than the kind of bank balance that you have, right? So don't be in that pressure to fit in. Do what is you. Finally, let's talk about the universal truths that we all wrestle with. Death, love, survival, power, revenge, loyalty. These are the core struggles that most creative works revolve around. And yet, facing these truths can be overwhelming. For a lot of creatives, diving deep into these topics mean confronting their own unresolved feelings. The truth, especially when it is tied to such universal themes, is hard to capture because it often requires the creator to live with those emotions, to process them in real time as they create. That's not an easy thing to do. The world for each one of us is different. The world, that the way you see it and the way I see it will be different. And for creative people, we see it in a little more evolved manner, in a little more richer manner. Why? Because the emotions and the angles that we look at it, if I may put it that way, is very different. So our universal themes that we deal with in the everyday thing, and they're all part of our life, right? Love, or whether it's survival, the power, the revenge. Yeah, trust me, that is part of our life, and a lot of people feel very revengeful. Well, like, revenge could be, oh, he underestimated me, and I should be doing better than that, and or one up on top of it. Loyalty, death. All of these are something that we go through in our life every day, and they are realities, right? They are truths in our life. Again, we don't have to suppress them. We can accept them, and we can understand that these are the core struggles every person is going through, and use those struggles into our art form and accept the truth that this is happening with us. And yes, you will actually notice during that particular phase or whatever that is happening when you are in love, things that you write are different. And trust me, you should just check it out. When you are in love and when you are not in love, things that you create at that during that time are different from one another. It is not something that you willingly or intentionally do, but that's the truth. That the truth of yours at that point in time kind of reflects on your work, right? And embrace that, and go with it, right? If you don't enjoy the truth that is going through in your life, and if you don't use that emotion into your work, that is also something that will feel inauthentic, right? It's because the truth is powerful, and power is intimidating. Truth makes us vulnerable. It forces us to confront uncomfortable realities, and it often challenges our own sense of self-worth. But here's the thing: without truth, there is no great art. The truth, whether personal, social, or existential, is what makes creativity meaningful. So next time you sit down to create, don't shy away from the truth. Embrace it, because that's where the magic happens.